Yo, what is going on, Halo fans? It is your boy J-Rock, and today we're going to be talking about the top 8 teams going into Halo Infinite Anaheim. Now, Anaheim is the second LAN of this season, with the first being in Raleigh, and I'm really excited to talk about these top 8 teams because, man, oh man, is there a ton of competitions. Today, I'll be revealing some players to keep an eye out, some teams that I think will sneak into the top 3, and overall my impressions going into Halo Infinite. Now, of course, at the number 1 seed, we have Cloud9. If you've been paying attention to the Pro Series and all the scrims and everything, you'll notice that Cloud9 has been dominating the scene. They won all 4 of the week's Pro Series, and they continue to dominate in scrims. We did see a minor lapse in performance in these last scrims versus Optic Gaming, but I think that is just them not taking the scrims too seriously, using that as an opportunity to work on different strats. Some players to keep an eye on is Stellar and Eco. Now we have Renegade and Penguin both in that lineup as well, and all 4 players are great at the game, which is why their team is seeing so much success. But the reason I want to keep an eye on Stellar and Eco is because I think those 2 are the biggest difference makers on the team. And again, with Stellar is a standout player who's arguably the best player in the game right now and really showed out in Pro Series Week 4, and I'm excited to see what he can bring to the table when they go into Anaheim. Between all 4 of these great players, they have an amazing chance to take first place, and I think if my money was on the table, it would be on C9. Now, coming in number 2 seed, we have FaZe Clan. This might come as a surprise to you, as it did for me, if I'm being honest. I didn't think they had the points or placings to get into second. However, these last 2 Pro Series has really proved that FaZe is one of the top teams in the league. Now, some players on that team to look out for is Falcated, who is clearly the top slayer and the lead of that team, who's constantly topping the charts on the leaderboard. And another player to look out for is Bubudubu. I really like Bubudubu's playstyle. He struggled big time in Pro Series Week 1. However, he's come back and has really hit the books hard and is playing lights out. It's great to see Bubudubu coming out so strong. Now, following in 3rd seed is Optic Gaming, the team that I'm most excited to watch coming up in Anaheim. Now, I do think Optic Gaming has the highest ceilings with guys like Lucid and Trippy on the team, both amazing slayers, but where I think they struggle is in their communications. I've been paying attention to all their scrims, been following Lucid's stream on Twitch almost every night, and there's clearly a lack of communication. When the team is doing really well, they're communicating really well with each other. When the team is really struggling, their communication is off. Although Lucid is the best player in the game in my opinion, the player with the highest ceiling for certain, he's struggling in a leadership position that he doesn't know exactly what to do with, and I don't think he has the confidence from his teammates to lead that team. Guys like Pistola and APG really work their best when they have a leader that can point them in the right direction and get that team moving where they need to be. Trippy and Lucid tend to butt heads a lot, and I think that just goes to show that when you have 2 main slayers on the team, you need one of them to really step outside of their comfort zones and be willing to lead. But like I said, I think out of all the teams, Optic has the greatest chance of taking that number 1 spot in Anaheim, and I look forward to seeing the battles that they go through versus C9. Now, coming in at seeding number 4 is United. United is one of those teams that are very interesting to talk about because despite being touted as a top 3 or 4 team, they're struggling to get into this 4th place. I know they're seeded at 4th, but they've been struggling maintaining that position throughout all the Pro Series, often getting knocked out of the top 5 or 6. Now, Spartan has been doing Spartan things. As you can see in Pro Series Week 4, the individual stat charts, we see Spartan placing in the top 10, as always, while his teammates have been struggling. Now, some players to keep an eye on United is actually Rain. I think Rain is the biggest difference maker in this game. And if Rain can pop off, this team has a good chance of making it farther than they have thus far. They really struggle with their comms, and their leading player is someone who gets really frustrated very easily. Spartan is constantly seen tweeting right after matches and really making a meme of himself, venting out on Twitter. I believe if Spartan can reel his emotions in and the team can get their strats down, they'll be a force to be reckoned with. Now, coming into our 5th seeding is the Pioneers, the KCP Pioneers. Let's go. I really like Pioneers coming out of Halo 5. They are doing really well at the end of the season, and they are marked to be a top 5 team. To see them qualify for top 5 in Anaheim is dope to see, and I hope they continue on the streak because they've been playing really well. They made it top 4 in the Pro Series Week 4 on the backs of guys like Soul, Snipe, and Talik. And with ego challengers like Druck, who is positioned to really disrupt the enemy's rotations and strats, I hope to see them come out and place in the top 5 here in Anaheim. That would be super exciting. Guys to look out for on this team are Soul Snipe and Manny. Manny's been really showing out, although he did struggle a bit keeping his KD up in the Pro Series Week 4. However, he has repeatedly shown that he's one of the best players in the league, in my opinion. And with the recent performance of Soul Snipe, I really do think they have a chance to sneak into the top 3 potentially. They have the talent, they have the team. We just need to see them put it together and perform. Now, in our 6th seed, we have G2 Esports. G2 is one of those teams that's really stayed in the shadows up until this last couple of weeks, along with Pioneers. They've always struggled in the 5th and 6th place. However, I do think that they have a good chance coming in with having 4 Pro Series under their belt, along with all these scrims that they've been participating in. With guys like Straight Stick, who's been known in this scene for a very long time, showing out in FFA and Halo 3, it's nice to see him on a team like G2, who's continuously trying to compete with these top teams. Now, some players to keep an eye on is Sapinator. Sapinator had an amazing Week 4 in the Pro Series, and I hope he continues in Anaheim. And a guy like Tusk, who's been thrown around the league on Space Station Gaming, being replaced by Formal, and it being dropped twice, and then being picked up once again by Space Station Gaming, performing well enough to get eyeballs from a team like G2 and getting picked up by them. Or I'm sorry, yeah, G2, and getting picked up by G2. So it'd be awesome to see Tusk come out in full force and possibly take over the position of the Pioneers and outperform them. That'd be awesome to see. Now, coming into our 7th seed, we have Space Station Gaming. Space Station Gaming is one of my favorite teams to look out for. It is coached and managed by one of my favorite old school players, an Elamite Warrior. They also feature his brother, Ace, who is the in-game leader, although he has been struggling keeping up with the kills, hence the struggles of Space Station staying in the top 5. But they have an amazing Slayer, Tylenol, who topped the leaderboards in 2nd place for Week 4. Tylenol has been making huge waves in the HCS as a new player and has repeatedly outperformed some of the top players in the league. Tylenol is one of those who I'm afraid after Anaheim will be shuffled around to get onto a top 3 or 4 team, possibly a team like Optic Gaming, United. I can even see him going to FaZe Clan. So I do hope Space Station Gaming can hang on to a player of his caliber and they can start making waves up in the top 5 with all the practice and scrims and tournaments that have been going on. A player to look out for and a difference maker on this team is Flazin. I think if anyone can turn this team around, it's a new player in Flazin, who they recently picked up. They can breach the top 4, top 5 even. I think Space Station Gaming's, G2 Esports, and Pioneers, and even United are all right there in the 4th, 5th position, which is what makes this tournament so exciting. And last but not least is our friendly neighborhood Sentinels. Now, Sentinels have been involved in all this drama with Royal 2 getting suspended for geofiltering, and now this is his first game to finally be back on the squad in Pro Series Week 4. Without Royal 2 and with the substitution in Formal, they managed to get 2nd in the entire Pro Series. So with Snakebite, Frosty, and Lethal all performing lights out for the Pro Series Week 4, I could definitely see them taking the entire Anaheim tournament. Some players to look out for is, of course, Royal 2 and Lethal. Royal 2 being this is his first game back, and it's a LAN tournament of all things, but if anyone can perform, it is Royal 2. And I want to keep an eye on Lethal. Lethal was really struggling in all Pro Series up until Week 4, and then finally we saw Lethal come out in Week 4 and perform at the level we know Lethal can. Snakebite has been insanely consistent, and Frosty is in talks for a top 3 player. They have an amazing chance of taking first place in the Anaheim tournament. So that is our top 8 teams, a little bit about them, some players to look out for. And now I want to give you my predictions for top 3. I'll be making an entire predictions list for the top 10, maybe even top 16 teams later on. But for now, I just want to predict my top 3 biggest contenders for first place on this tournament. And those 3 are, of course, Cloud9, Optic Gaming, and Sentinels. Now you might notice, J-Rock, you didn't include FaZe Clan, who is second place. You didn't include E United. I think E United has the least chance to get into the top 3 and is going to struggle getting out of the top 5, if anything. And then FaZe Clan, yes, they have an amazing chance to make it in, but I think out of all the teams, they're the most inconsistent. I know people are going to say, but what about Optic? They've been insanely consistent as of late. In fact, in the last 3 Pro Series after Raleigh, they were struggling, and it's only in these last Pro Series that it looked like they had it together. I get it. But I do think with Lucid on your team and that team composition coming together better, they have a very good case for the number 1 spot. Between Trippy and Lucid, it is difficult to rule them out. And with APG showing signs of life lately, and even Pistola performing well in the scrims versus FaZe last night, I do think Optic Gaming has a better chance than FaZe. FaZe is way too inconsistent with performances from Snipe Down and from Bound. We don't know what kind of performance they're going to put out. Sometimes Bound is super high, he's a top fragger, and he's playing lights out, very aggressive. And sometimes that aggressive play between him and Snipe Down both can lead to FaZe struggling. So we will see how it pans out. We will be watching all of these games, not this weekend, but the following weekend. But if you're the type of person that's been following the HCS, watching all these teams, following these players, and want to engage in conversations, please, by all means, leave your top 8 below. Leave the players you want to keep an eye out below. Let's engage in some healthy conversations around the HCS. And I will see you guys next time.